Good morning, everybody. This is Jared Klassen with Upscale Detail Co. And today I have a special guest, Monica Luker from Hope Harbour. And the reason I brought Monica onto the show is because she has been working with our team to really promote a great cause for the Columbus community, and it's called the Driving Out Domestic Violence Car Show. And Monica has really been very passionate about this cause, and we have currently been working on this for about 3 months now. We're in basically our final coordinations with everything, and really I just wanted to bring you on because I want people to know who you are and what passion you bring to the to this event, and then also Hope Harbour. So can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what Hope Harbour is?
Sure. Well, first, thank you so much for having me, and we just appreciate all the support that you guys have given us here at Hope Harbour. But Hope Harbour is the lifeline for victims of domestic violence. That's basically our mantra. Anything that you could need to flee a domestic violence situation, whether it be counseling or legal services, outreach support such as changing a deadbolt lock or replacing a broken window for safety, shelter services, anything that a client could need to flee a domestic violence situation is what Hope Harbour offers our community.
That's awesome. So my next question is, how long have you been associated with Hope Harbour, and what intrigued you about that position?
I've been with Hope Harbour just under a year. June will be my anniversary date. And I naturally have a passion for this business because I myself am a survivor and have experienced almost every form of violence that you can experience, from infantry to all the way up until my adulthood. So I'm very passionate about helping others understand that there's help and support service available for them. Our executive director, Lindsay Reese, is absolutely amazing and is incredibly passionate about helping our community and the members that we need, to offer outreach and support services to. So it's just a natural fit for me.
That's awesome.
I just love it.
I think that's why me and you connect so much, because I also have a background. A lot of people don't know my true background, but I grew up in a home that experienced domestic violence, and I think that's why we connect so much. And I think eventually I'm going to come out on the podcast and tell about my story, because I think I can connect with a lot of people. Because a lot of people see, upscale, and they're like, oh, this guy's never gone through anything. But in reality, like, I probably had one of the worst childhoods that a lot of kids have gone through. And, if I can connect to that community and like share them, like, there's always a path to become better. And it's all about who you involve yourself with, your spiritual walk with God, and, really getting the resources that you need to get through that tough situation, which is like Hope Harbour. So can you kind of tell me about more of, I guess, you said something about the housing. You guys offer housing. Can you kind of go into more detail of that? Because I think that's an awesome resource.
It is. We are actually one of the largest domestic violence shelters in the state of Georgia. We have 43 beds. We offer shelter support services to men, women, and children. Men are directed to contact our crisis hotline, and then we get them set up with hotel concierge services.
Yep.
To get them safe housing. And then the women and children, we provide the shelter services at our undisclosed location here in Columbus. But we, like I said, are the largest shelter in the state of Georgia. We offer support services to 6 counties in the state of Georgia and 1 county in the state of Alabama. And we are the only domestic violence shelter that is actually dual licensed in both Georgia and Alabama.
That's awesome. So kind of going deeper into everything, can you kind of tell the audience a little bit why we are doing the car show and how it's going to make such a significant impact in our local community? And can you kind of deep dive into, like, okay, we have sponsorships, but what do those sponsorships do for actually the local community?
Sure. I am super excited about the car show because I myself love cars. I always have since I was a little girl. Anything with wheels, really. And it's funny now because I've got a 4-year-old son that is following right behind me in my footsteps. Anything with wheels, he loves. We were looking for an event that we could do in the spring and would be a different demographic. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It happens to the old and the young, the rich and the poor. It can happen in really established, beautiful, prominent neighborhoods, and then it can happen in the projects. And so we felt like doing a car show would really extend our reach and help extend our services and the awareness of what we do to more people that we don't normally get to associate with. So the car show is going to be family friendly. We'll have a touch a truck experience where we'll have police and fire and EMS with their boats and their ATVs and their vehicles so that the kids can have a positive connection with law enforcement and those that serve and protect us. But also being able to extend our reach to car enthusiasts and cycle enthusiasts and talk with businesses that I don't normally get a chance to speak to. Our big fundraiser up until this one had been a celebration of hope. It had always been a luncheon. And this is just something completely different. And I'm able to go out in the community and talk to different businesses that I wouldn't normally speak with for a luncheon. And so it's just a win-win for everyone involved. The community giving back to them. We're also going to have a blood drive. Life South will be out there with their blood mobile, doing a blood drive. The Department of Public Health will be there. So it's just really, as much as we gain from it, from Hope Harbor of extending our reach, we also get to give back to the community itself. And that is something that is very exciting.
That's really cool. And anybody that's listening on Only Columbus, Georgia, I want to do a big shout out to the person that has founded this account. Like, he has helped us so much in getting the word out. I think two of our videos actually went viral for this. So
Awesome.
People in Atlanta are hearing about it. So it's really, really cool that what we as a team are doing to help out the community.
Absolutely.
And so can you explain, you kind of posted a video about it, I think last night, and I reshared it, but can you kind of talk about how the sponsorships help families?
Absolutely. So 100% of the proceeds that are raised at this event go directly to support the victims and the services that we provide at Hope Harbor. And it's shelter services that provides food, it provides toiletries. We get a lot of donations that come in, gently used clothing and things, but sometimes there might be a children with special needs and might need something unique to their health or lifestyle that requires us to go out and make purchases in the local stores and things. And so all of the funds that we get are utilized to support those victims. I mentioned before our outreach program, we're able to repair broken glass or take care of replacing a slashed tire. Sometimes our victims only have a liability-only insurance policy, and so they don't have the things that are in place to get them taken care of. So any dollar that we get, we truly extend its reach to helping the victims that we serve.
That's awesome. And can you kind of explain the levels of the sponsorship and
Sure.
how they work?
So our platinum sponsorship is $5,000. That $5,000 sponsorship, it houses 32 victims a year, which is huge. 32 victims. I get emotional just thinking about how impactful that number is. Our second sponsorship would be silver at $2,500. That sponsorship can go and help provide meals, warm meals to our victims. This is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have to also remember that we don't close. We are a 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year business. We do not close. Domestic violence doesn't sleep on Christmas Day.
No, it doesn't.
So anything that our clients need is what these sponsorships offer. Let's see, platinum, silver, gold sponsorship is 1,000, and then we've got the bronze at 500. And of course, all of these dollars again go directly to support those that we serve.
And just to kind of let our audience know, if they are interested in the car show or helping give back to the community, what website can they go to?
So our organization, the website is hopeharbor.org. Directly on our webpage there, when you visit, there's a link to click if you would like to go ahead and pre-enter and register your vehicle or your bike in the show, or if you would like sponsorship details, what each level includes in terms of the benefit of the business or the organization that supports us through their sponsorship, what's covered.
That's awesome. And I think just for our audience in general, and I know a lot of people don't know that we're, accepting motorcyclists to come in. I'm actually a huge advocate. I used to ride all the time.
I did too.
Unfortunately, I'm getting out of the Army here soon, so I had to cut down some expenses. But
Sure.
If you guys are a Harley or an Indian or whatever bike you have, you guys are invited. This isn't about, I have this type of car, I'm only hanging out with this club, whatever.
Right.
It's about the cause, driving out domestic violence. So, going into, this, could you I don't know if you can ask this question, but could you kind of explain just a situation that you've helped somebody out with? It doesn't have to, you don't have to name names or anything, but maybe a situation where you have truly impacted somebody's life.
Sure. We get client testimonials all the time after they've completed our program. I do a lot of social media content where I'll do typed up testimonials or read aloud on a video a client testimonial. It's cases where people have been like you and I from a very young age. Exposed to domestic violence, and it's taken them years and years, and unfortunately children are being brought up in the home with domestic violence, and it's just their story about how they were unsure or uneasy. They eventually reach a breaking point.
Yep.
I've talked about this before. Number 7 is kind of the lucky number, so to speak. It takes the average victim 7 different times to leave their abuser successfully. And there's a million different reasons why they're unsuccessful the first 6 times or the first 12 times. A lot of times abusers will take away their victim's ability to make a living, their ability to have a car, to have a cell phone. They make them feel inadequate where they can't even leave the house. They don't feel like anyone would believe them if they came and told their story to a friend or a family member or a coworker. So these testimonials are about real victims that we've served that come forward and tell their story about what their breaking point was and how on this time they were really serious about doing what they needed to do to get the support and the help that they needed, and us opening our doors. And not everybody needs shelter services. Sometimes they just need, money to help keep the lights on at an apartment that they rent, and because their abuser has been arrested and is in jail.
Yep.
And so we help them with those, electricity bills and things. And that's also where the sponsorship dollars come into play. Is every dollar that we bring in goes directly to support those victims in whatever capacity that they need.
And I think it's really crazy that you talked about all these things. Everything that you said was what I experienced. I think it took the 5th time before my mom was just I'm done.
Yeah.
And I commend my mom. She is a very strong woman. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No, you're good. I get it.
But like what she did and how we escaped that situation, I had to grow up at a very young age, and I can remember I was working on the farm since I was probably like 9 years old. So I had saved all this money up in a savings account, and I can remember going and talking to my mom because we couldn't pay for the bills. I'm sorry.
No, please don't apologize.
And I literally gave her all of my money so we could provide. And I started working at a very young age, and I really want to thank my aunt and uncle because they housed us for 6 months, and they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And they helped us get on our feet because my dad literally cut us all off.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about that whole situation is like I have been able to forgive my dad for everything that he's done. I've let go of all that. People make mistakes, and
and letting go of that. Letting go that healing process that you've allowed yourself experience.
Yeah.
You're no longer. You are only punishing yourself by not forgiving.
No, and it's totally true.
And it's, when you're going through the motion and you're experiencing these things, it's really hard to forgive the person that has caused you so much grief and so much harm.
Yeah, and I look at it at a more mature me now, and I can look at it. It's not right what my dad did, but the thing that caused all those things is because of his financial burdens, the stresses that he had in his life, the religion that he got a part of, which was like a cultish religion, and that fed his bitterness and his anger because he experienced that when he was in his childhood. He just never let go of it, and he never got the help that he needed. And I went and got counseling, and I had a coach in my life. He was my wrestling coach. This man helped. I'd probably be in prison, to be honest, if it wasn't for that guy. And he was such a good example to me. And wrestling was kind of like my coping mechanism for all the hurt that I had in my life. And, it's really important that if you're experiencing these things, you need to get help.
Absolutely.
And it takes so much courage as a person to go get help.
Yes, it does.
It does. And this is why I support this organization, because it's, it's been very hard for me in my life to overcome those things.
Sure.
But it takes a big person to overcome that.
It absolutely does. And that's why the moment I thought car show and extending our reach, I thought about Jared Klassen.
Yeah.
Because you're awesome. And when you reached out, I'm crying too. When you reached out to us last year in October and said that you wanted to do, thanks to Caitlin, you wanted to do this trunk or treat, and you wanted the proceeds to support us here at Hope Harbor, it just made me it lit a fire under me to want to do something nice for you and your business. And I'm excited about the reach that you're getting with your logo and things in front of businesses. The opportunity to sit here today and it's just, God is amazing. And sometimes, when you're going through things, you don't understand and you're frustrated. But at the end of the day, Hope Harbor is here.
Yeah.
And, so many people don't have the ability to go in to clients or friends or family members' homes because those people themselves are afraid that the abuser is going to come to them.
Yeah.
And if they're, a family that has children of their own, the last thing they want to do is introduce violence into their home that's not there.
And I totally get that, because at one point we feared for our life.
Sure.
We really did. And I could literally see the fear in my mom's eyes, So when we went back to Kansas to get all our stuff, my mom went over to my dad's house, and I don't know what happened. I really don't. When my mom came back, completely different person. And my dad has a medical background. I don't know if he did something to alter her mindset, but my mom went into the deepest depression I've ever experienced in my life. And so I would literally I had to get her out of bed to help her stay motivated. And like, I'd be like, Mom, are you okay? And she would just stay in bed. And I understand that now, because it's so hard for men or even women to go through that experience. A divorce is so hard on a family. And it's very important that if you have gone through those things, that if you're a figure in the family and you have kids, it is your sole duty to protect your kids.
Absolutely.
It is your sole duty to be strong and say enough is enough.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes families can go through those things and they can heal from that. But we have a policy in our household that we would never do that. And we would never hit somebody or anything. There is zero tolerance for it. If for some reason I did, my wife has already told me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I have zero policy. And I would never do that.
Right.
But that's the kind of standards you have to set as if you're a man or if you're a woman. And as the figure of the household, you have to set standards, because no child deserves that. And they will never deserve that. And so, but anyways, that's kind of a little bit of my story. It's a lot deeper than that. But is there anything that you would like to add to the podcast once we, it's kind of my final question, and then we'll open it up to the audience if there's any questions.
Sure. Just, once again, thank you for your support of us here. Thank you for sharing your story. And, I just, above all, I want people to know that even when they feel like there's no hope and there's no place that they can turn, that they don't have a friend or a family member, we have trained professionals that will advocate for you, that will help file a temporary protective order. They can counsel you on places that you can go, organizations that are available in the community to provide you with the help and the resources that you need. There are many different layers and facets to abuse.
Yep.
And no matter what a person's story is, your abuse does not define you.
It doesn't. And the one thing that stuck to me about my coach, and he said, Jared, you control your life, and God helps you with that. But he said, if you continue to sit in self-pity, you will be in self-pity for the rest of your life.
Right.
And I kind of took that with a grain of salt, and I said, okay, like, I can either be depressed and hate my life, or I can make a positive impact and I can help people that have experienced the same hurt and same pain.
Right.
And my sole passion in life is relationship building and taking somebody that was not a leader and making them a leader and a better person in the community. That is my passion, and that is my why. And that is why I kind of started my own business. Like, yeah, it's the details, right? But what builds an organization is the people in it.
Absolutely.
The culture of the company, the core values. That is what matters. And you can have your core values on a wall, but do you walk the walk?
Absolutely. And that's what's so great. Again, I go back to, God led us to each other as two different organizations to support and love. And everything that you do, it is very easy to see that you are in it for the greater good and to just be a good person. Anybody can experience crappy things in their life and, go down a road of being bitter and unhappy and violent outbursts and behavior of their own, but it really takes a special person to go through adversity and come out a brighter, better person. And
Yep.
if that is one thing this business has taught me, is that, like I said, it doesn't define you.
It doesn't. It does not. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay. Well, I really appreciate everybody that's listening to this podcast. I think this was probably one of the deepest podcasts and emotional podcasts that we've had, but it's important that, as the I guess the face and owner of the company, that the real me. This is me.
Right.
Like, it defines me.
Right.
It's the person that I have molded myself into, because I had two choices in my life. I had the choice of making an excuse and blaming all my problems on the situation, or looking past it, forgiving, moving on, and being a good person.
Absolutely.
And if you guys want to be on this podcast, and you want to tell your story, and you're a business in Columbus, Georgia, the surrounding areas, give us a call at 706-705-7335. And Monica, I really appreciate you coming on.
I so appreciate you having me. And if anybody that is watching needs us at Hope Harbor, our 24-hour crisis line is 706-324-3850.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, man.
Love you too. That was...